Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome you all in PIST Virtual Learning System session 2020. Dear students, this lecture is for grade first year, subject computer science, and this is our 10th video lecture, and we are on chapter number 2, computer memory. Dear student, today I'm going to talk about magnetic memory, optical memory, volatile memory, non-volatile memory, types of computer memory, and then further we will discuss the types of main memory, internal processor memory, and cache memory and processor register, which are the types of internal processor memory. So dear students, in previous lecture, we have discussed about the type of memories and chip memory. So today we will continue the second type of your memory type, that is magnetic memory. Magnetic memory basically is used to hold, and one of the most widely used type of digital data storage is magnetic memory storage. This refers to every kind of data storage using a magnetized medium. The storage capacity is also extremely big, making it attractive for storing extremely large amount of data. The main limitation of magnetic storage is that accessing the data can be quite sluggish. So basically, hard disk is a permanent storage and the type of a magnetic memory. In magnetic memory, it is used to store your large amount of data in the form of magnetized material. So it is extremely large amount of data it can save and hold, and on permanent basis. So this type of memory is used to hold your permanent data. So if you will save your data on a hard disk, so it is on permanent basis. How magnetic memory can save your data and how it works. So a thin layer of magnetic material is coated on the surface of the magnetic tape and a magnetic disk. Binary information is stored in the form of thinly magnetized and non-magnetized spots on the surface of a magnetic tape or a disk. So here you can check the surface of a magnetic memory. This is a surface magnetized memory and the surface of a magnetized surface. So a magnetized spot represent a binary 1 and a non-magnetized spot a binary 0. In our previous lecture, we have discussed about binary number and the information stored with the help of binary 1, 0 and 0, 1. So when we store our data in magnetic memory, a magnetized spot represent a binary 1 and a non-magnetized spot represent a binary 0. Binary 1 means that a high value or a true value, and binary 0 means that the false and low value. So a magnetized spot represent a binary 1 and a non-magnetized spot represent a 0. And a read and write head moves extremely close to the magnetic surface. You can check here, we have read and write head. So this read and write head is used to read your data in the form of magnetized port. If you have a magnetized port, it means that the binary number 1, and if you have non-magnetized port, it means that you have a binary 0. Or read or write head moves extremely close to the surface of a magnetic surface and can read your data. We have multiple platers in a magnetic memory and they can rotate, and read and write head is used to read the data of your magnetic disk. The head is capable to discover and modify the magnetization of material. Magnetic storage is extensively used because it is relatively low price in comparison with other storage technologies. So it have low price and it can save large amount of data on permanent basis. So magnetic storage is extensively used because it is relatively low price in comparison with other storage devices, and it can save large amount of data for computer. The types of the magnetic memory and the examples of the magnetic memory is hard disk and magnetic tape. Magnetic tape, dear students, magnetic tape is basically an old storage media to store large amount of data permanently. Magnetic tape consists of a thin ribbon of plastic. The tape is coated with magnetic material. It is called read-write device. It reads and writes data sequentially, so its speed is slower than other storage devices. So magnetic tape is a old method to save your data in the form of reels, and read and write heads are used to read your data in the form of sequence. So it's a sequential access device, means that you have to go in the form of sequence to retrieve your data, to access your data. So this is a slow accessing method which we can use in magnetic tape, and this is an old way to retrieve your data. Dear students, hard disk is another example of your magnetic memory. So hard disk is basically widely used method, and normally in our computer we must have at least one hard disk that is used to hold your data and information permanently. So hard disk contains one or many platters disk coated with magnetic material on both sides. The platters are attached to each other, and in the form of parallel platters are attached, and they can rotate, and with the help of read and write head we can read the data, and your data is stored in the form of magnetized and non-magnetized spots. So these two are the examples of magnetic memory. Hard disk is a most common way on which we can save our data. Magnetic tape was the old method, and that is a sequential access device, and hard disk is permanent device which is used to store your data, and this is a random access device. In hard disk you can access your data randomly, you can access any location randomly. Next is optical memory. In optical storage technology, a laser beam is used to encode a digital data onto an optical disc in the form of tiny bits and lands arranged in concentric tracks on the disc surface. A low power laser scanner is used to read data or information from these bits and lands and converts it to the digital form. Optical storage provides cheaper and greater memory capacity than a magnetic storage. A whole set of encyclopedia, for example, can be stored on a standard 12 centimeter 4.72 inch optical disc. So dear students, an optical disc is any computer disc that uses optical storage techniques. And so basically, dear student, it is a computer storage disk that stores data digitally and uses laser beams transmit from laser head mounted on the optical disk to read and write your data. So you can see here on your slide that this is an optical memory, an optical disk, and it is used a laser technology to read and write your data in the form of optical method. So basically optical disk is used as a portable and secondary storage device. It is a portable and secondary storage device. We can move from one place to another place easily. It is a portable device. It can store more data than the previous generation of magnetic storage media and has a relative longer lifespan. Computer disk, CDs, and DVDs and Blu-ray discs are currently the most commonly used form of optical disc. These are generally used to distribute software to customers, stores large amount of data such as music, images, and videos, transfer data to different computers or devices, backup of data from local machine. So here, these discs and optical memory is the latest and the fastest way to hold your data. You can take the backup of your memory on your optical disk, And these are the portable disks which you can move your data easily in compact form. And large amount of data you can save easily. So here we have an image of an optical memory. You can check this is LED in area. LED in area, the area inside your optical disk. This is your program area. This is your program area, and here LED out area. This is one optical disk and the one optical memory which we can use to hold our data in the form of optical disk. So dear students, this is a block diagram of your optical memory and optical disk. So here you can see we have track and sectors, and this is a complete platter like this. This is a complete platter, and this is a zoom view of your optical memory. This platter consists of track, sectors, clusters, and read and write head. So basically, compact disk can store 650 MB to 737 MB of data. The data is written to the disk in a spiral pattern, and the exact maximum amount of storage space is independent upon how the spiral is written onto the disk. One cannot make the spiral too dense or drive will become unable to read them. Data is encoded into this spiral via bits and lines, which is roughly analogous to ones and zeros, but we will delve into that more later. So here, if we want to check, so we have tracks. This consists of the platters, and these platters consist of rings on each side of each platter called tracks. So these are the tracks. That this red one is your a complete track. We have track ring on each side of each platter called track, and section within each track called sector. This is a complete sector. A section of each platter is called disk section. So each disk consists of platter rings on each side of each platter called tracks, and sections within each track called sector. A sector is the smallest physical storage unit. A sector is a smallest physical storage unit, and it is used to store 512 bytes in size. So here you can check, this is our platter, complete platter. Here we have tracks, and this is the sector. So each track has the same number of sectors, which means that the sectors are packed much closer together on tracks near the center of the disk. So here we can see the sectors. So we can classify our platter into tracks and sectors. So this is a complete track. You can check here we have many tracks. One is highlighted for you. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the tracks. A complete ring. A complete ring is called a track. Then we have a sector. The sector is a closest and the smallest physical part, which is basically sector basically is divided into track is divided into sectors, and the sector is the smallest physical storage unit on the disk. This is the smallest storage unit on the disk. So here we can check, we have many sectors which we have here. We can classify and divide our track in multiple sectors. Here we have a clusters. Cluster is the smallest unit to hold your data. It is the combination of track and the sector. So this is a cluster. And here we have a head. This head is called the read and write head. This is read and write head, which is used to hold your data. When your platter, your disk is rotate, and this read and write head is used to read and write your data. So basically your optical memory and your memory is used to save your data in the form of track and sectors. These are the tracks and sectors, and we have many tracks and many sectors which are used to hold your data in optical form. And here we have read and write head which rotates and read your data and pick your data according to your requirement. Now, dear students, the next topic is volatile memory. Volatile memory is computer memory that requires power, electricity to maintain the stored information. Volatile memory maintains the information as long as power supply is on. But when the power supply is off or interrupted, the stored memory is gone. It is also known as temporary memory. So volatile memory means that when you have a memory and you will save your data, but when you will turn off your computer, your data will wash out from your storage medium. This is called the volatile memory. Volatile memory, your data will wash temporary, your data is stored temporarily, and when you will switch off your memory, so your data will remove from here. So this is the nature of a memory, which is temporary memory. An example of such memories are RAM, random access memory, cache memory, and registers. So these memories are used inside your processor, inside your system unit, which is hold your data for a specific time period. When you will turn off your computer, automatically your data will washed out and clear from your computer system. Non-volatile memory. Non-volatile memory is a permanent memory that can retain the stored information even when not powered. Non-volatile memory is typically used as secondary storage for long term of future use. So non-volatile memory basically is a permanent storage which is used to hold your data for a specific time period, and if you will turn off your computer, your data automatically save and remains safe on your medium. It will not washed out. So basically non-volatile memory is used as a secondary storage devices and backing storage devices on permanent basis. If you want to save your data on permanent basis, so you can use the non-volatile memory. Examples of non-volatile memory include ROM, read-only memory, flash memory, magnetic storage devices, hard disk, magnetic tape, optical disk, Blu-ray disk. So dear students, these are the examples of non-volatile memory. Floppy disk. Floppy disk is used to hold your data permanently, but it is an old way to save your data and the small amount of data it can save. Then we have a compact disk and optical disk, CDs, which are also a way of non-volatile memory. You can save your data permanently. Internal hard disk, every computer have one internal hard disk, and every sort of data can be saved on internal hard disk. We have C drive, D drive, which are based on your hard disk and the capacity of your hard disk. External hard disk or hard drive, it is used to travel your large amount of data from one computer to any other computer. This is portable device and you can move your data easily and from one computer to any other. This is flash drive, USB and data traveler. This is also a non-volatile memory and it is used to hold your data for a specific time period. You can copy your files and you can take the backup, and then you can move your data from one computer to any other computer. And same as we have the memory card, SD card. So it is also used to save your data permanently. And all these are the type of non-volatile memory which is used to hold your data permanently. Now, what is the difference between volatile memory and non-volatile memory? The difference between volatile and non-volatile memory. Computer memory that requires constant power to maintain the stored information is called volatile memory. But on the other hand, non-volatile memory, computer memory that can store information even there is no constant power. This is non-volatile memory. And in volatile memory requires a constant flow of power to retain data. If you want your data, you must provide the constant power and the flow of current. So it will save your data and continue. You can continue your work. But in non-volatile memory does not require a constant flow of power to retain data. Affect the system performance. Volatile memory is a used to affect the system performance, is a type of a main memory which affect on your system working and the performance of your system. Affect the system storage. Non-volatile affect the system storage. So when you will save your files on a permanent storage like your hard disk, so if you have more storage, then you have a more, you can save your more data on your computer. So it affects the system storage and it affects the system performance. Volatile memory holds data temporary. It holds data permanently. So non-volatile is a permanent storage and its volatile memory is a temporary storage. So when you will turn off your computer, your data will wash out from the volatile memory. Volatile memory is faster memory, but non-volatile memory is a slower memory. This volatile memory refers to primary storage type and the example is RAM. It refers to secondary storage device and examples are ROM, hard disk, floppy memory and solid state drive. So dear students, now we will continue our topic types of computer memory with the help of this chart. Here we have a memory and our memory is classified basically in two main categories. Primary memory, it is also called internal memory, and the main memory. Primary memory is also called internal memory and the main memory. Here the second type is secondary memory, external memory. This is secondary and external memory. Primary memory can be classified into CPU, register, and CPU on chip cache. And here we have RAM and ROM also. RAM can be classified into DRAM and SRAM. RAM stands for random access memory. This is a type of a primary memory and the main memory, and also it is divided into DRAM and SRAM. And here we have the second type of internal memory is ROM, and it is classified in PROM, EPROM, and EEPROM. Programmable read-only memory, erasable programmable read-only memory, and electrical erasable programmable read-only memory. Then we have a secondary memory and external memory, and it have magnetic tape, magnetic disk, and optical disk. All these are the types of your memory. Dear students, we will continue our lecture with main memory. So what is a memory? Basically, a memory is just like a human brain. Memory is just like a human brain. Like in human body, we have a brain to memorize something, to memorize all the events in our mind. So a memory in a computer system is just like a human brain. It is used to store data and instruction. Computer memory is the storage space in the computer where data is to be processed and instruction required for processing are stored. So basically, computer memory is a space or a storage space inside the computer system where data and instructions will be processed, and before processing and after processing your data and instruction will be stored. Main memory refers to physical memory that is internal to the computer. So when we talk about the main memory, so main memory basically is a physical memory, and internal memory and the primary memory. So all these are the names of your main memory. So sometimes we can call the main memory, and sometimes we can call it primary memory, internal memory, and the physical memory which are used inside the computer system. The computer can manipulate only data that is in main memory. Therefore, every program you execute and every file you access must be copied from a storage device into main memory. The memory is divided into large number of small parts called cells. So students, remember that every time your memory is divided into small cells. So your data is stored in the form of cells. These cells are called location. Each location or cell has a unique address which varies from 0 to memory size -1. For example, if the computer has 64K words, then this memory units has 64 multiplied by 1024. It means that we have 65,536 memory locations in one memory device. The address of these location varies from 0 to 65,535 because we have started from 0. So we will minus 1 from this total capacity, that is 536. So we will minus 1. So it will start from 0 to 65,535. So every memory location have a unique address. First of all, your memory is classified and divided into small cells, and these cells have each have a location, or each location have a unique address. Each memory location have a unique address. So whenever you want to save and retrieve data, so you can use the address, and CPU use the address, memory address, to retrieve your data, to save your data on a main memory. So it depends on your memory storage and the capacity of your memory, how much memory capacity we have in the form of MBs. So we have 1 MB, 16 MB, 1 GB, like this. So this is the memory capacity. Characteristics of main memory. These are the important characteristics. These are semiconductor memories. So basically, main memory is a semiconductor memory. The material which is used to build the memory is a semiconductor, and ICs, integrated circuits, are used on these chip. It is known as the main memory. Usually volatile memory. Volatile memory means that when you will turn off your computer, your data will wash out. It's not a permanent storage. Data is lost in case power is switched off. It is the working memory of the computer. Basically, the main memory is a main working area of your computer system. Suppose if you want to open Microsoft Word, so Microsoft Word is a program, an application program, and it will load into main memory. And RAM is used for this purpose, and your main memory will load this program, and then you can use your Microsoft Word. So this is a memory location, and it will access the memory location, and it will load into the main memory. It is a main working area, or a main space where we are working and interacting. Faster than secondary memories, a computer cannot run without the primary memory, because it is very important. Without having a primary memory, our computer cannot load any program. Types of main memory. So here you can check the primary memory and the types of a main memory: RAM and ROM. RAM further divided into SRAM and DRAM. ROM is divided into PROM, EPROM, and EEPROM. So primary memory means that the main memory, internal memory, and it can be classified in two types, RAM and ROM. Basically, RAM and ROM is a type of a main memory, and they have further divided into 2 and 3 types. Types of main memory. So first of all, we have internal processor memory. Internal processor memory means that these memories are directly accessible to the CPU. These memories are extremely fast. So means that these memory are inside your CPU, the central processing unit. For it is used for the temporary storage when CPU needs the instruction for the execution, and it will transfer your instruction into the internal CPU system. So it needs some temporary storage inside the system unit, inside the CPU. So the cache memory and the process registers are used to hold your instruction, the data of instruction, the address of the instruction. So these two types of are used for the internal processor memory, which are used to provide the facilities to save your instruction data and addresses of your instruction. Cache memory. Cache memory, pronounced as cache memory. Cache memory is a small-sized type of a volatile memory that provides high-speed data access to a processor and stores frequently used computer programs, application, and data. It is the fastest memory in a computer and is typically integrated on the motherboard and directly embedded in the processor or main random access memory. Basically, cache memory is used between the RAM and CPU. Sometimes CPU needs retrieve instruction fastly. So cache memory is a small memory, small and high speed memory between the CPU and the main memory, and it is used to retrieve the instruction and data fastly to the CPU. So cache memory is a chip-based computer component that makes retrieving data from the computer's memory more efficiently. It acts as a temporary storage area that the computer's processor can retrieve data from easily. So computer can take and retrieve data easily with the help of this cache memory, and cache memory is a high speed and a small memory. Cache memory is small high-speed RAM buffer located between CUU and the main memory. Cache memory hold copy of the instruction cache or data operand or that data cache currently being used by the CPU. The main purpose of a cache is to accelerate the computer while keeping the price of the computer low. So here we can check, we have a CPU, we have a main memory, we want to transfer the block of instruction. So it will transfer to the cache memory, and cache memory interact with the CPU and transfer the instruction quickly and fastly. So this is a high-speed memory and small in size, which is used to transfer our data and instruction quickly. So we have different levels of cache memory. Level 1 cache are designed to be the fastest as they are closest to the CPU, and it will be accessed typically by the CPU, and the access time of level 1 cache has a major effect on the clock rate of the CPU. So level 1 cache is basically inside the CPU, and this is the fastest level of cache, and CPU can access the fastest way. It is the fastest way of transferring the instruction and data CPU can use. Level 2 cache, on the other hand, is relatively slower but is bigger in size, giving higher hit rate. So it is rather than bigger and slower. Level 3 is as slower as far as the access time is considered, and even bigger when the size is considered. This continue for all the cache levels. So here we have a level 1 cache, level 2 cache, and here the level 3 cache. Level 2 cache sometimes can be near to the cache level 1 and inside the CPU. Types of cache memory. Level 1, level 2, and level 3. Here is a comparison between all these levels. A cache memory that is directly built into the processor and is used to store the CPU's recently accessed information. This is a level 1. And level 2 cache memory that is located outside and separate from the CPU chip core, although it is found on the same CPU chip pack. And level 3, a cache memory that is used by the CPU and it is usually built onto the motherboard within the CPU module itself. The level 1 cache is smallest cache, level 2 cache is larger and L1 but smaller than L3. And L3 cache is largest cache. L1 called level 1 or primary or internal cache. Level 2 called level 2 secondary or external cache, and L3 called level 3 or external cache. Level 1 is the fastest cache memory, and level 2 is the slower than level 1 but the faster than level 3. And the level 3 is the slowest cache memory. The last one is each core in the CPU has their own level 1 cache memory, and L2, each core in the CPU has their own L2 cache memory, and L3, all cores in the CPU share the same L3 cache memory. So these are the three types of cache memory and comparison between. So dear students, the next topic is processor registers. So basically, registers are high-speed storage locations inside the microprocessor designed to be accessed at much higher speed than conventional memory. Registers are classified according to the functions they perform. So basically, the processor registers are temporary storage inside the CPU which are used to hold your data for a specific time period. When we will insert the instruction, it will execute it into the register. Built-in memory location in the processor, faster memory location. So basically, registers are fastest memory location since they are present inside the CPU. It can hold an instruction, a memory location, or a data. Also used by the CPU to process, store, and transfer data from one component of the computer architecture to another. So basically, registers are a temporary storage inside the CPU. Here you can check, we have a block diagram of our CPU. Here we have a CPU, we have a main memory, control unit, and ALU. So registers are a temporary storage. When you enter an instruction and input any data, it will pass to the register for a specific time period, instruction, data, and address. Then after processing, your data sent back to the output unit and sent back to the main memory like this. So processor registers basically storage location located inside the processor. A modern processor has many registers. Registers are used to hold data which is being processed. Registers are used to hold instructions which are being executed. Registers are used to hold addresses which are about to be accessed. Types of registers. So dear students, the last topic is registers and the types of your registers. So we can classify our registers in further types: cumulative register, program counter, memory address register, and instruction register and data register. So dear students, as we discussed, registers are used to quickly accept, store, and transfer data and instructions that are being used by the CPU. So we have different types of register which we can use for the different purposes. So these are the types of the registers. So first of all, we have accumulator register, and accumulator register is used for storing the result. Those are produced by the system. Within a CPU will generate some result after the processing. Then all results will be stored into the AC register, accumulator register. Then we have a program counter. Program counter basically and commonly called the instruction pointer. Program counter PC is also called instruction pointer, and it is used to point your instruction and your next executed instruction. Then we have a memory address register. So basically, memory address register, MAR. This stands for MAR, memory address register, and this is used to hold the memory addresses of data and instruction. This register is used to access data and instruction from memory during the execution phase of an instruction. Suppose CPU wants to store some data in the memory or to read the data from the memory, place the address of the required memory location in the MAR. So memory address register is used to hold the address of your instruction. Then we have an instruction register. Instruction register basically is used to index your so memory instruction register. Then we have a data register. Data register is basically used to hold your currently executed data required by the instruction. When you want to execute the instruction, so your data is loaded into the data register. So these are the types of your, so dear students, all these are the types of registers, and remember that the registers are a temporary space and the location inside our computers, inside our CPU. And these are the types of our registers. So dear students, we will continue this topic inshallah in the next lecture. Till that, thank you so much.